Next up, we have DarkHorse. She is going to be telling us about the craft of threat intelligence. I'm so excited for this, just looking at the initial slide. DarkHorse has an extensive background in threat intelligence and a master's degree in cybersecurity. Her favorite pastime is stalking and annoying APT groups. Me too. Her favorite hobby is using OSINT for creative purposes, and her favorite snack is donuts. So take it away. We're really excited to hear this.
Great, I'm super excited to be here. Good morning, afternoon, or evening to wherever you are in this world. Like I said, my name is DarkHorse, and today I'll be sharing with you the craft of threat intelligence. I'm super grateful to Leslie to be here, as well as the Pancake community, for allowing me to share today and for having them created such a unique and fun platform. Leslie doesn't know this, but for my last 8 years in security, I've literally been stalking all of her work. So I'm really excited to be in the same room with her. Just some things to go over before we get started is what it'll look like. I'll start with an introduction, followed by what witchcraft and threat intel have in common. Then we'll go into each of the individual crafts. So this is the agenda for today: introduction, what they have in common, the crafts, and then we'll end with a demonstration of witchcraft. So an introduction. My friends and those in the Intel community know me as DarkHorse. I've been in Intel for about as long as I've been practicing magic, and as I've grown in both, I've noticed there are similarities between the two that we'll go over in the next slide. But who am I? Well, I have a master's degree in cybersecurity. I published several different articles and white papers and spoken at different conferences, all on my findings while doing threat intelligence research and hunting. Besides that, I'm just your average friendly neighborhood witch. I like Dungeons and Dragons, which you can clearly see reflected on this slide. And I like hunting down the bad guys. You can find me on Mastodon, LinkedIn, or Discord. For alignment, I'd say I'm chaotic good. I like to mess with the mouse once I catch it, you know? And how I go about questioning it can be a little questionable, but I do it for good reasons. It's just very chaotic how I do it. Now that you know about me, we'll just move right into the commonalities between these two. So what you'll notice about my slides is that I keep them very simple to look at. There's not a lot of information on the slides themselves. It's what's going to come out of my mouth. The reason why I'm doing this is because in college, I found my favorite people to learn from had very simple slides, and then I could just listen to them speak and tell stories and things like that. It was just easier for my little ADHD mind to keep on track with that. So I hope this works for you, like it does with me. Anyways, let's talk about the commonalities. To start, both crafts are uniquely designed to each individual. You practice magic. It can look very peaceful. Same with your practice of threat intelligence. I like to say as many forms of there are of witchcraft, there are also of threat intelligence. You can practice good, or you can practice the darker sides. And witchcraft darker sides can look like using your craft for your own gain, despite the consequences to other people or things around you. And that's the same with threat intelligence. You can use your practice of threat intelligence to do things like actively help a state threat actor, regardless of what the consequences of those actions will look like leading to more victims. The good, though, can look like defending vulnerable populations, like hospitals and charities and nation states under threat, or making a spell in honor of a peaceful passing for your loved one. This one I did for my grandma. There's little things on it. She was a very religious woman, so I have this to help honor her passing, and she was really into angels as well. But the different things inside of this just represent the different hopes I have for her as she moves on from this life into her next life. So that can be the very peaceful side of witchcraft, right? Is just creating something to honor someone in memorial. Same with one second. I hope you guys can see everything. I was doing the challenges before. Is this better? Okay, great. That's so funny. We swapped the mics from my practice session. Okay. Oops. There we go. It went back a slide, but that's okay. We'll go right back into it. The last thing I was saying was your threat intelligence practice can look very similar to your witchcraft practice in that they can be very peaceful or they can be very dark. Me, for myself, I've chosen very peaceful. I've chosen very good things, like having created this in memoriam for my grandma to pass on. And like with threat intelligence, you can choose to use your skills for good. A good example is I used to help defend a nuclear facility. And as you can imagine, they get bombarded all the time with different threat actors. And I quickly discovered that I was very good at OSINT and discovering where the chatter was online about how they were going to try different things. And so I could use the threat intelligence that I gathered from those places to put into extra place security measures to prevent those things from happening in the future. So yeah, good can look like defending vulnerable populations. Bad can look like increasing the threat actor's chance of being successful. Yeah, so that's it. You have your choice of how to use your skill sets and where you want to align yourself in the struggle of good versus evil. All right, now let's talk about our common enemy. So crafting a spell is a lot like crafting your threat intelligence platform or methodology. It can be very personal depending on your goals or motivations. Today I'll be showing you an open source, or here that is free, way of crafting a threat intelligence platform that can work according to your own craft and contribute to the overall good. My own personal goal with threat intelligence is to defend and protect vulnerable populations, which is a mission best achieved through combined effort. My own, with the architecture I'm going over today, you can join the fight and come together as a community in sharing threat intelligence to help each other fight. In the shared effort, we recognize that we cannot combat our adversaries alone, and that's okay. There's a lot of things in life that you can't do alone, and this is one of them. The threat actors get together and they're very good at what they do. There's not a single threat actor out there, an advanced persistent threat out there that's acting alone. They have people everywhere. They have ears everywhere. They're getting their information everywhere. And that's the same thing it should be for threat intelligence in our defending. So that's just us recognizing that, you know, our skill set is comparable to that of the adversaries. We just have to be able to come together and put together each other's strengths for that. And, you know, that's where our strength lies, is in our unity, in our ability to share intelligence and support one another in the fight. So, you know, together let's forge our bonds, combine our knowledge, and stand firm against the encroaching darkness. For it is only by turning against our common enemy that we can hope to emerge victorious. So that's a little D&D for you. All right, so this is it right here. This is the architecture. Did not mean to do that. Just try to get it out of my way. Okay, so this is the open source spellbook, similar to how witches have their spell books, right? And it tells them what to do step by step and what the outcomes are of those things. This is me showing you the spell for threat intelligence, gathering the ingredients together to create this threat intelligence platform that's free, by the way, as I had mentioned before. But I feel like it's important to say again, because it's super easy to spin up and sometimes financial things can be a barrier. And in this way, it's not a barrier. People can just spin it up. We can get together. We can just do amazing things with it. So these are the ingredients for the recipe for the architecture. All right, whatever. Let's get right into the open source platform. It's used to store, share, and come together against the common enemy. For this, I've chosen tools that I use on a near daily basis that I have found to be the simplest and easy, but also the most effective way of tracking threats. They also help glean insights, and it's a great way to share threat intelligence. In this process, we have 4 key components. OpenCTI, ELK, MISP, and the raw data. Each of these elements work together, but they also have unique roles. While some of them can perform similar tasks, I found that dedicating specific resources with specialized tools is a great way to maintain organization and facilitate sharing. So, for example, ELK excels at parsing and analyzing large volumes of data. While OpenCTI can perform similar functions, it's not specifically designed for this task and may not do as efficiently or as comprehensively as ELK does. Additionally, although you can share data with OpenCTI, I found that sharing through MISP, particularly through their MISP galaxies, is easier and more streamlined. Though most recently, OpenCTI has come out with a way to share each other's OpenCTI knowledge checks, which is really nice. But again, MISP makes it very easy to be able to see the information and attribute it to who the researcher was that put it out there and be able to determine scoring on the knowledge, whether it's something that you can definitely trust 100%, like if it comes from CISA or the NSA or whoever, versus an independent researcher that you just found on the web who you're like, maybe they're good, maybe they're not, I don't know. Can I trust their information? I have to double check on that. So difference between OpenCTI and MISP is that one is good for sharing knowledge and the other one is good for storing the knowledge and being able to, well, I'll just tell you about it here in a second. All right, so let's go here into the step-by-step process. We begin with a collection of seeds, otherwise known as the raw data. While we may not fully understand their potential initially, we recognize their significance. These seeds are then pointed to OpenCTI, or rather they're planted there. This is a platform that serves as the fertile ground for their development. Within OpenCTI, the seeds are organized into distinct rows, facilitating easier monitoring and management as they germinate into valuable insights. And that's what I love OpenCTI for. And the big difference between MISP and OpenCTI is that OpenCTI is an amazing place to organize your knowledge and be able to find attributions and be able to look at the different ways in which the data is acknowledged by other portions out there. So next we transition into the harvesting stage facilitated by ELK. If you're not sure what that is, oh no, please don't go on. It's just an open source platform. It's very similar to Splunk. That is all I'll say. So just as a farmer gathers produce from the field, ELK retrieves the cultivated information from OpenCTI, and then this harvested data is then transported to a visible platform, which is ELK. This enables analysts to manipulate and process it into actionable intelligence. It's kind of like when you're working in a SOG and you get all of your logs shipped to Splunk or whatever other visualization platform you're using. It's right in your face, right? It's very easy to work with. It's very easy to manipulate. It's very easy to search with. And that's what ELK is there for. So while you have OpenCTI that is really good with the data and cultivating the data and organizing it into different methods, if you ship it off over to ELK, it's easier to view the data itself and be able to easier to work with because there are some features that OpenCTI doesn't have that ELK does have. So next, we go on to MISP. Once we've gathered all the necessary ingredients, akin to vegetables harvested from the field, like what we saw with ELK, it's time to prepare a dish. This is where MISP enters the picture. MISP acts as the communal dining table where analysts can come together to share their findings and insights. Much like inviting friends to a meal, MISP facilitates collaboration and exchange of intelligence among analysts, enriching the collective understanding and response to threats. All right. So I shared with you, this is the open source spellbook for being able to create a threat intelligence platform that is free, easy to work with, be able to use really anywhere that you can imagine. And like I said, it helps us all come together in the same fight against the same enemy. You know, they have their spies everywhere. We should be able to come together with intelligence and work together the same way that they do, right? You know, there's no pride in being the only one to find something. There is pride, though, in being able to save an entire nation of people from certain attacks. So, because we are limited on time, this is just a little bit that you can do, and it's an easy way to look at it. It's also, you know, if you need help thinking of it in like D&D terms, this is a great way to come and adventure with me. I hope you found this portion informative and fun and inspiring. And if not, well, maybe you'll just like the witchcraft more. So let's move on to show and tell. Show and tell. Let's get into this. So as I mentioned with threat intelligence, witchcraft can be very personal. You know, it's according to what you like, it's according to what you want to accomplish. And so today I'll be showing you how to create a spell jar. Now this is for someone who's very close to me. It's going to be a spell for resilience because they face a lot of obstacles in this life and a lot of anxiety around them, and I just wish the best for them. And this is kind of what that is about. You'll see in here, there's already a incantation in there that I just put in there. It's just to kind of set the mood for it. Now, usually I will use, well, I dropped that. I'll pick it up in a second. I use a white candle for this to smudge what I'll be working with. It's basically to cleanse it. I'll light it up with this here guy and then use that. I won't be showing you how I seal the jar today, which is also with white candle wax. And there are different candles out there. There are different colors that represent different things. White is kind of like a purity kind of thing. It's kind of like a protection kind of thing. There's also black. Black can be a very good one as well. It can also be a very dark one, depending on how you use your different skill set. I'm gonna pick up the bottle. Okay. Here's the bottle, right? Showed you the bottle, showed you the cap. I already smudged it with this guy earlier. I won't be showing that here because we're limited on time. So, with this kind of crap, just how with threat intelligence, how you put different ingredients together to come out to make this big, beautiful thing that works, it's the same thing with this craft. So I'll be showing you the different ingredients that we use to put into this to make this entire thing. All right, so I'm gonna start by showing you one of my favorite flowers that I cultivated from my own garden. It's the daffodil. I don't know if you know this, daffodils, otherwise known as narcissus in the planting community. They are known for their resilience, especially because they usually come out in March when they bloom, and they're there through the fake springs when winter comes back in full force, and they just start hounding on them with snow and ice. But that's what they're known for. They're known for their resilience. And that's what it will be used to represent in this jar. So I'm just going to crush it a little bit. Make room for the other ingredients. Now, I have some herbs here. Thyme is used for strength. That's what it's representative of, is strength. And then there's basil, which is courage. Both of things that I consider to be very important with resilience is because you need courage and you need strength. So I just put some in there. It's a very messy thing without all my tools in front of me, but beautiful. All right, that's what we have so far. Now, the next three ingredients, I'm sure you've all attributed witchcraft to different rocks and crystals and all these other things. And yeah, we do use those for different reasons and meanings, but I bet you didn't know why before that. Obsidian we use for protection and grounding. Amethyst
we also use for protection. And rose quartz, we use this for self-love. It's as a reminder that as you're going through things in your life that are really difficult, to love yourself, especially because it can lead to a lot of depression when you're going through things. So I just add these to the jar itself. And I buy mine from a locally sourced place here. In where I'm from, you can get a lot of gems ethically sourced and sold by some really good people. So that's where I get mine from, is just ethically sourced local shops. And I get them usually in 50-gram bags, just because they're easier to work with that way and they're super cheap to buy. All right, let me check the time real fast. Excellent. I think we do have time for this. All right. Just gonna shake it up a little bit because I like the aesthetic of everything mixed together. That's it. That's a spell. You put it together like that. It has the incantation in there. It has the different representatives inside of it. And a lot to do with witchcraft is setting intentions. It's kind of similar to how different practices work out there, different religions or whatever you follow out there. A lot of it is about setting intention, right? It's about what you want to accomplish through these things. I'm trying to get this to work. Sick. So as I mentioned before, the white candle it's used for pure things. It's used for protection. It's a lot of things about it is represented by light and love. And that's how I seal these ones, is with light and love. And usually you can just drip the wax on it. With these ones are kind of messy. They just end up dripping onto it themselves. I won't be showing you the dripping just because it can take a long time, and that's really boring to just watch someone drip candle wax all over something. But yeah, once you have it done, you can smudge it again, just like that. Just use the smoke to cleanse it. It's mainly a ritual thing, really setting intentions again. And then in the end, you have a beautiful sealed little jar. At the end of the day, I like to say, even if these things, some people will approach these things as, well, that's make believe and so and so. At the end of the day, it shows you care about someone, and it shows you put a lot of thought into someone. And really, that's it, is people like to know that you're thinking about them and that you have intentions for them to be protected throughout their lives. So that's that. I left some time at the end to ask questions. So that's where we're at. It's question time. Oh.
All right, so again, add your questions into the track chat if you want to know about anything else. The first question that I saw was, how do you use a MISP in a small company? Who do you share data with? With other companies? I'd be down for that, but I don't know about the management. Or is it more meant for internal analyst teams and data sharing there?
No. So MISP is definitely used for external data sharing. That's what I use MISP for. It can be used for internal data analysis. But like I mentioned before, in the things with the ingredients I listed for the architecture, MISP is really good about external knowledge sharing, and it can be done with literally any size organization or individual contributor. I have my own MISP galaxy that I use for individual contribution with other MISP galaxies. It's super easy to do. You can literally connect with any MISP galaxy out there in the world and be able to look at their data, be able to pull intelligence from there, and be able to use it for yourself.
Thank you. Some folks were wondering how to reach you on social media, especially Mastodon.
Oh, great. You can find me at hackers.town. That's the instance that I'm on. You can find me under the name The Dark Horse.